Hello again. I'm still Ben. Back to the hat to see what our topic is today. Shake this one up real good for some reason. I feel like this hasn't gotten shaken up really good in a while. And this one says, oh no, I was the right way first. North Korea and other dictatorships. North Korea, other dictatorships. Well, that's a pretty big topic these days since there's so much nationalism going around and practically the United States being the pot that calls the kettle black at this point. But I just don't think that we need to have a pretty severe relationship with any place that is a dictatorship in any way. You know, if that's how they want to do things, and if we don't have people asking for help for it, you know, if they're not threatening other people, although North Korea is sometimes threatening them, I've got to admit, you know, when I first wrote down this kind of large list of topics that I would speak on, I didn't expect North Korea to be one of the places to align itself against the major genocides in Gaza, where, you know, Israel is the problem. So they've since come out and said that, you know, they support Palestine. And I'm like, well, that's correct. You know, so it is always strange to see people that are otherwise brutal dictators themselves make a few good choices. You know, I think in the kind of overall sense for North Korea, they would do a lot better to be reunified as one Korea. Obviously, that's kind of up to them, you know, because anything for the United States policy-wise is going to be, you know, it should be dictated by what their desires are. You know, if North Korea wants to have a better time than being such a brutal wasteland of places, then, you know, people escape and speak out and try to encourage that kind of thing. And I think South Korea certainly would want to move some industries into that area in order to help revitalize it and reunite a nation. But you know, they've truly never proven to be the kind of global threat we act like they are. So, I'm sorry, as of now, my policy is they seem to be, you know, choosing some good choices and aligning themselves against genocides, despite, you know, not being able to kind of get over the programming and the propaganda that's been at home for so long that they'd be able to reach out and ask for help. I would absolutely help if people want to reach out for that, but I don't want to impose it on other people because that's exactly what imperialists do. So, you know, if there's a change of heart, or if there is, you know, some effective way to meet and communicate, you know, who's met the North Korean dictators in person before? No American presidents? Well, that might be part of the problem, you know, or except, I guess, no, Spray Tan McDicknuts did actually talk to him, didn't he? Because he's such an idiot. But, you know, we've got to talk about from a real standpoint of people who have more brain cells than a jellyfish. So, they could be doing better. It could be doing better. That's the same for all of us. But whenever it comes to some kind of dictatorship, I think, you know, policy-wise, nationally, we have to condemn that kind of behavior if we really believe in a democracy. You know, that's not an effective democracy there, and certainly ours is not effective right now, and there's plenty of other countries that aren't super effective right now either, but that's because of a global system of finance and elites that are keeping it the way it is for their own benefit. I'd help out if I can, you know. I hate to see people suffer needlessly, you know, but that really, at this point, depends on, you know, their supreme leader himself, and perhaps later herself, if his daughter, in fact, takes charge. I always want to help. My name's Ben Howison. Sursum Corda.